We are here today with Cynthia and Anne, who work in the glass studio and are wonderful volunteers. Cynthia is our current studio lead, and Anne is super involved in all glass events and activities. And very soon, coming up in October, which depending on how fast I edit, maybe sooner than I would want, we'll be doing a big event here at Barn on Bay Bridge Island. Called Refract, and we're participating as part of it's a Pacific Northwest wide event. Cynthia and Anne, do you want to tell me a little bit more about Refract and what we're doing and what we're looking forward to?
Well, although it's Seattle-based and started by Dale Chihuly in Seattle, I think he brought it to all of our attention that we're really the hub in the U.S. of glass. I mean, there's so much passion for it and creativity here. And our little glass studio started pretty small, but it's become very robust. We're really excited to take all of the different forms of glass that we do at Barn and showcase them at this Refract event. And lots of our glass artists are going to be showing. We're very excited about showing all different methods from, the torch work that we do to glass mosaics, to fused glass, to cast glass. Fill me in, Cynthia. What else do we do?
I think
torch work. Did I say torch work? Did I say
glass?
Fused glass? Did I say
all of the above?
And stained glass. I don't think I think I left that out.
But Refract is a really big deal, and I think it started within the last 10 years, and it had, like a lot of things, had to take a break during COVID. But it is in conjunction with a lodging organization in Seattle. So the whole idea is that when people are traveling to Seattle, they come here, hopefully, to be exposed to all the very cool glass art that is in Seattle itself, plus all around Seattle, the Pacific Northwest. If you've ever been to the glass experience at Seattle Center, that really tells a great story about the genesis of all the glass work in the Pacific Northwest.
In our studio in particular, that is going to be dedicated to the torch work. And we have 3 different artisans coming in to share their methodology. And we'll have, proper equipment so that people like glasses and, we won't crowd the studio with too many people. People can rotate through. So that's one thing that's going on for a demo. People will see that passion of a molten piece of glass being pulled into a little flower or a marble that looks like it's, a universe unto its own. It's just incredible. Or pumpkins. I mean, you just never know what torch work is going to come up with. And then down in our small classroom, we have Barbara Henderson. And if you haven't met Barbara, you should check out the podcast with Barbara. She is an absolute delight of a human being. She works in mosaics, and she just does a marvelous job with all different kinds of mosaics. She's going to be doing a try it class, which is like, hey, just try it. It's easy. And she's going to be coaching people through how to build a little mosaic pendant. And it's free for those that participate. At the end of it, we'll have an artist reception.
The exhibit, which is really the centerpiece of the whole thing here at Barn, will feature Barn artists, but also we've invited artists from outside the Barn community. So we're excited about that.
And you all in the glass studio do so many different types of glass. It's a real flexible material, like literally and figuratively, right?
Exactly.
And so is that one of the sort of unique parts about what Barn is up to with Refract? These demos of different types. Yeah.
And where we don't blow glass, and then of course it's Chihuly and his group of wonderful glass blowers, we don't do that. Maybe in the future, watch for that, but we'll grow as we grow. But I think the beauty of Barn is that we're makers. That's how we differentiate ourselves. And because we do, all the different aspects, disciplines of glass that we just talked about, it's amazing to see torch work where, that's warm glass, not hot glass like blown glass would be. People taking a piece of glass, turning it into a molten blob of glass, then pulling that apart into, what might be a delicate flower. And after one of our artisans makes 100 of those, she puts them into a necklace. It looks like something out of a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing work. And so the other concept, I think, with Barn is a few years ago, I had a big piece of glass that was about 18 inches in diameter, and I couldn't buy a metal stand for it. So I walked upstairs, which is about 20 steps away from our studio in glass, and went to the metal studio. And I said, hey, can I pay somebody to, make a particular frame or stand for me? And the lead there said, no, you can't pay them, but I'll teach you how to do it. And so from there, we got into making, we said girls who weld. Of course, there's guys, but in that particular session, we had 3 women in pink welding helmets, which was quite funny, welding our own glass stands. And what about our other artists that make fiber
and wood? So what's helpful about these other studios, besides glass, is that you always need something to kind of display your glass. I mean, lots of times it's just a vessel or a bowl or something like that, but it's very helpful to have some of these other studios pitch in. I made a menorah last year, and someone from the wood studio helped me make I didn't actually make it, he made it. We collaborated on the design of it.
Great collaboration.
That's right. But he made a beautiful oak stand for me. And anyway, it's this place is very special. And we're in addition to Barn on Bainbridge Island, BEMA, Bainbridge Art Museum, as well as Bainbridge
Arts and Crafts
is participating in Refract also.
Yeah.
So from the ferry, you can walk down to their place, and but hopefully we'll get a few people that'll make it over here to Barn as well. Yeah. But we also hope lots of local people come to the event.
Yes. A lot of people who maybe have been curious about glass but haven't had a lot of experience with it.
Exactly.
Yep. From a creativity standpoint, all of us ache to help somebody that's struggling or just starting out.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see somebody come in, they know nothing. I remember the day that I walked into the studio when we were down in Rolling Bay and knew nothing. My friend had made some glass with some birds on it or something. And I said, wow. And I'm envisioning my designs on that glass. I mean, that just sounded like the coolest thing in the world. And, the pain in my jaw was the hook in my mouth, drawing me back to Barn. But I really felt as if, I'd met my tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was special.
Yeah.
How do you not get overwhelmed? If you're a beginner and you're looking at this and maybe you go, oh, I love stained glass, or, oh, I just want to know how to make bowls, or how do you get over that? Well, I want to work with this medium that I can drop, or, hey, actually, I'd really like to work at something that's thousands of degrees and then have the potential for dropping it. Like, are you all secretly adrenaline junkies? Or, how do you, what's your advice for people to?
I as a studio lead, I end up doing the studio orientations for people that are new to Barn or just want to find out about the glass studio. So I say always the best way to get started after this marvelous orientation is to take an introductory class, and whatever looks good to you, just sign up for it. And then once you've taken that class, then you're entitled to come to an open studio. And what I tell them, I said, do the exact same project with a slightly different design and just kind of get your confidence up of being, flying solo. But what's so cool about an open studio is there's always a monitor there, as there are in all the studios, who are really there for safety purposes, but they are a font of knowledge, and they're so generous in sharing their knowledge. And I learned so much from my early days last year.
So have you both been glass artists forever, or is this something that snuck up on you, or how did that happen?
Snuck up on us.
Anne made me do it. No, I actually more of a painter, and I've done ceramics and all kinds of different art. But and I have this perfectly good art studio at my house. I
I'm
said,
so
I don't
jealous.
need to
Such a
come to
great
Barn. And I
space.
got to know these women, and they said, you got to come play with us in the glass studio. I said, "Oh." Anyway, I finally did. And the pain in my mouth was the hook. And look at me now.
Look at you now.
Anyway, so and actually Anne's class in kiln carving was the very first class I took.
Oh,
I might have taken a cutting class before that, but anyway, and that's what I did when I started. I just took all the intro classes, and then I said, okay, this is like a health club. Got to come at least once a week to make it worthwhile. So I started coming to Open Studio every week, and I didn't always know what I was going to do, but I did something. Anyway,
And now we teach together.
yeah.
So that original kiln carving class we teach 4 times a year. Cynthia teaches it once, and I'm her liaison. And then I teach it, or you teach it twice, and I'm your liaison, and vice versa. And that makes it fun because they really get, the students get 2 teachers for the price of 1. And we get to spend one-on-one time with them. If we see someone struggling, or they're just confused about a technique, or how do I perfect this design? Oh my gosh, that's like, bait for me. I'm just like right on them. And so is Cynthia. If she's liaison that day, she can go over and spend time with them and, better explain a technique that may be a little difficult for some people to understand in a particular phase or class that we're doing. So it's fun for us. And I think once people come to Barn and they see it for Refract October 19th, did I mention that? From 10 to 3?
Plus, we're going to have feature the kids' work that some of them
Nice.
The
that,
teen and youth work.
yeah, that
Nice.
did some great projects last summer, this past summer. So we're very excited about that.
That's great. So people can
Exhibit.
see the full spectrum.
And
Yeah.
the idea is that the receptions for the people that are exhibiting, so we'll have
Nice.
them at the end. The Refract event that's happening in Seattle actually goes from the 17th through the 20th. So people, even if you're participating on the 19th with us, there's opportunities to go into Seattle, and I think they have a shuttle bus that will take you around to different
They do.
studios. It's kind of like an open studio
Okay.
event, but in Seattle, and it's focused on glass. But they also, I think Anne went a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
didn't you?
I did.
And there's all kinds of glass. I mean, not just blown, the big furnace, the blown glass.
Yeah, and
but
you'll go into everybody's studio. I mean, that could be somebody's garage, to a site-specific artist that does huge, lots of expense of these beautiful site-specific architectural pieces that are glass. They go into large buildings and courtyards and what have you.
Do you look at these projects differently now that you know more about how they're made?
oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
always saying, how did they do that?
And if we don't know, we find out.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it's really like, okay, we gotta figure this out. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Or you see other art. I mean, sometimes we'll see paintings or other art. It doesn't have to be glass. And I think that's, for me personally, that talks to me as, I just did a graphic design for a friend for an event that they're having. And now I'm going to take that as a gift to them and interpret it into a glass piece.
Oh, nice.
Same
Ooh.
colors,
Yeah.
same sort of shape that I started with. And, but that design could be on paper, which you could do in our print studio, or in, who knows, maybe you could put it into a culinary, delightful platter of some kind. They're just, the possibilities are kind of endless. And so, I'm really excited and proud to let people find out about our studio in particular, but Barn in general. They'll see just walking around, you can't help but touch the collaborative notion of, combined art pieces.
So anybody watching this amazing podcast or listening, there's still time to participate if you want to display your art.
That's right.
And as we get into September, then we'll actually start collecting the pieces. Well, actually, October.
Right.
And it's all the information is online at bainbridgebarn.org/refract. And we've got convenient links there to all of the Seattle Refract events. So if people are looking for more information on where to go, you can start with us and RSVP as well to come in on the 19th. We're not requiring registration, but we just want to kind of know how many people we're expecting. So if you're planning on attending, just hit the webpage and give us a quick RSVP and check out all the other events.
Thank you for allowing us to talk about our glass studio at Barn and Refract.
So exciting.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Glass is pretty fun.
Class is so fun.
Time to take another class, ladies.
Barn Connects is recorded in the Media Arts Studio at Barn on beautiful Bainbridge Island, Washington. Barn is a nonprofit home to 10 maker studios, classes, creative community, and events. You can find this podcast online at bainbridgebarn.org by subscribing to Barn's YouTube channel or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more on our website, bainbridgebarn.org.